This is Spill the Sauce Podcast with
Sam Hastings with Sam Sauce
and Radhi from Fire.
Let's keep spilling that good stuff.
Myself some water. Give me 1 second. When you start recording, then I need water. I just call.
Yeah, start recording. Hold on, I gotta grab something to drink quick.
Yeah, not a sponsor, Aquafina.
No,
Water or actress.
this is true. We get in trouble.
Or just say we're sponsored by Aquafina, but we won't say which one, so you can't hold us to it.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. This is Spill the Sauce Podcast. Today we are here with my co-host Sam Hastings of
Sam Sauce.
and I'm Radhi from Fire. And tonight here we are joined with a friend Matt from the Heatsource. And I have a question. What the fuck is the Heatsource?
That's a great question because I get that question more often than not, especially from my family. The Heatsource is a podcast where we learn everything we can without actually making sauce. Weirdly enough, we're just fanboys of hot sauce, so we're learning what we can, one bottle at a time.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you included.
I'm just going into my intro. I'm just defaulting back into it.
How did that come about? Like, why hot sauce?
So it was something that Mike and I, we work together, our day jobs, we work together, we regular office talk, and we just always kind of go back to food. And he likes heat better than I do. I'm a medium hot. He's in that level with not quite, but I don't know. Will be interesting to see if Mark from Hot Sauce Guide, how they compare, because he doesn't react at all when he has his. He's like, oh, that's toasty. So we talked spice, we talked heat. Yeah, Mark's tolerance is up there. Like I'm trying to see if he's reacting.
The only time I've seen him in pain is like going right after like Ed Curry's booth at New Mexico, and then he came over to my booth and he was like in like fetal position for like 10 minutes. He's like, oh my god, I just ate hot sauce from Ed, and he was in so much pain.
It's like a misconception because like Roddy guy, we make sauce, but like Mark and even you guys, you probably try more hot sauce more than us, like by far. Like Mark has tons, and it's cool because we get to like live through him. Like, hey, what do you think of this? What's going on here? Because he has that diverse palate. But you guys are pumping out some cool stuff and some cool informative information.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, Mark is definitely, his amount of sauce that he's tried, like his experience level is way up there. Where I think I did a count where last year, just on the podcast alone, we tried like 75 sauces just from recording from March of last year. And that's not counting this year where we've been doing a weekly episode and sometimes two sauces. I don't think
I've tried 75 sauces in the last year. I've tried maybe like, well, not including the shows, because like when you go to like, in New Mexico, you try at least like 100 different sauces if you go do the whole like tour. I'm not gonna count that, but like individually, like I haven't tried like that many just for just because.
But the thing is, at the show, you're trying a spoonful and then you move on. Maybe you buy some bottles at certain booths.
Yeah,
they're all in our fridge. We're stuck with them. Where I'm just literally finished the bottle of Trap Nero today. I made a coleslaw where I threw in some fermented, because you were talking fermented sauces on an episode recently, so I threw that in something, and I'm like, where the heck has this been? It's so small. And it was like, it's just hidden behind the back. So I'm like, oh, let's bring this out. Let's use this one up. I only had about, I don't know, a couple thick pours worth left. So
thick pours. I absolutely
I'm going to fanboy on a couple quotes here on the podcast. I listen to your guys' podcast as much as I listen to my own.
You listen to how much you listen to your own episodes?
I listen back. I just listen over it because I want to try to pull audio clips from it.
Right.
So, and I try to get like a bit of the first thing we try to do is get some teasers for the sauce, like what we said about it, quotes, food, recommendations. So I listen back through the whole thing. Also, I'm paranoid that something messed up audio wise every week, because our second episode with El Perro Afortunado by Lucky Dog, we messed up the whole first recording. We had to do it a second time.
Oh God.
It was, we set up literally on the road for work, set up in a hotel. I set up like this whole thing, and it didn't record. It recorded, but it was from the laptop off in the corner. And so ever since then, I'm just paranoid. So I listen back through the whole thing. Mike, I don't think's listened to more than like 15 seconds of an episode. He admits it on the podcast regularly.
He's like, I have no idea what's going on. I'm just here to eat some chicken wings.
Like Mike is literally the Sam of your podcast, where he's like, just tell me when to go and we'll start going. It's like, just point me in the direction of the mic. Let's get it going. And then that's kind of, I think, what makes your podcast and ours kind of fresh, where it's a little bit unexpected.
Oh yeah, dude, like our conversations like are never like even like planned or scripted. Like I normally just like 2 seconds before we start recording, I'm like, Sam, we're talking about this, and he's like, okay, and then we start recording. And honestly, I don't even edit the episodes. What I do is I download the audio, I throw in the intro, the outro, and I export it, and off it goes. I don't have the time to listen to like a 45-minute conversation while editing, and then like all this other stuff. So I just like I hope for the best.
It's a lot. It's
Yeah,
a lot to do. So I think it's a better idea. Just
we're
to
a little
say,
raw
this is it.
on the show. We we don't have any filters, everything, and
we fire from the hip. And then I mean,
Yep.
even from when Billy and I started this couple of years back, it used to be not scripted, but we had tons of bullet points. We had tons of questions, tons of topics to try to keep things going. And he was really specific about those things, which was great. And then after a while, I'm just like, it just slowly fizzled out and just became more natural, more comfortable. And it's like, hey, we're just having conversations with people. Why can't it stay that way? You know? But great points can come out still too. Like I'm sure we got something in our pocket for you as well. Maybe you use too. Maybe you do, Matt.
I don't know. I mean, the only time I was the most structured for an episode is we had Cast Iron Kyle on, and I know he wanted to talk about the sauce makers at the Boston Fest. So I'm like, we have to stay on task. Otherwise, the episode we had Roddy on, it was an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 40 minutes. And I'm like,
a long one.
This, like, I don't know what to do. Like, this isn't a Joe Rogan podcast. It's not supposed to go 3 hours.
Did he have to wake up at like 5 a.m. too?
No, we did a late night one because we were trying to get him on the episode. Dude.
Yeah, they wanted me on this one day, and I was like, if you want me that day, it has to be like midnight or something.
I think the target demographic is we need to start like hitting the other countries that at 6-7 a.m. our time, it's like the afternoon, evening time over there. It's like, hey, we're huge in Australia. Like,
if you're looking for some individuals or some guests, I know quite a few people across the pond, so to speak. If you're looking for some new people, I can throw you some names that it'd be great to get them a little more attention too. But that'd be killer, man.
Yeah, that'd be fun, and they'd actually be okay with our schedule because it's just easier for us to record in the morning with the way. I mean, I don't know if it'll change when Mike's kid's born, but it's something where I'm easier to wake up in the morning than stay super late. But
I do not function in the morning. I can stay. See, like, here's my thing. If I go to sleep and then I have to wake up early, there's no way that's happening. But if I had something to do all night, I would not mind staying up through the night to record a podcast at 5 a.m. and then go to sleep at like 6 or something.
Yeah, I'm kind of psychotic in that way where I think it's I was in the Guard, so it's like the lowest form of military of like just National Guard, but I still wake up super early. And if it's like, hey, I got to do this podcast stuff, I got to record this, I got to prep this for work, I'd rather stay up through the night than go to sleep and like have to work late. I'd rather just like stay awake. I'm like, all right, well, I just didn't sleep that night. It's a terrible idea. It's unhealthy. Don't do it.
I do it almost every day.
Yeah.
He's still he's a young gun.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to talk about something real quick. Like, bringing it back to the saucy stuff. You as somebody who reviews sauces now, you have like a pretty popular podcast. I want to say you have like 700 followers on Instagram. Compared to us. And you've been at it for a year now. Sauce makers know you, like reviewers know you, people who like hot sauce know you. Do you get like, because I know that I have, and I don't know if Sam has, and I want to know like both of your thoughts on this and or like experiences. How often do you get like sketchy hot sauces that you just like don't want to try?
So we haven't gotten as many as I would have expected at this point. We had a couple recently where I'm like, all right, now I'm a little bit more cognizant to like look and know what to. We had one reach out to us where I'm like, I don't know anything about this brand, but then I talked to them, looked at their website. They had all the FDA approvals and all that. I'm like, okay, I know what to look for. They had their pH levels, like everything there. I'm like, okay, that's better. But we had one guy message me on Facebook Messenger, not for the podcast, but for I'm on there on my personal account. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for hot sauce. I'm heading out to Maine. I want to pick some hot sauce up on the way, next month when I go out there. And he's like, hey, I make hot sauce. Like, I can hook you up. And I'm just like, this is like, it wasn't even a website. It was like, just message me on my personal page. I'm like, I'd love to. It's a hard thing where you want to help out the little guy that's trying to make it, but they need to go through certain steps just from a safety standpoint.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that luckily we had one sauce maker that we did on the pod very early that was like 45 minutes north of us, and we're like, oh, that's great, he's right back door, and he talked about the science and the cleanliness and all that, but it still wasn't something in hindsight that we would probably do now, because now we know, like, if something went wrong, or if we recommended something, or just really, I mean, just trying it and not vetting it and making sure they do the proper things, it could turn out real bad.
Yeah, that could be dangerous, dude. How about you, Sam?
I mean, recently, not at all. But I mean, we've been going 3 years pretty hard last March at this, which is awesome. You know, big ups to the boys doing it. Hey, also big ups to the other co-host of the Heatsource. When the time this episode drops, he's going to have a baby, and I think his name's going to be Sam. I think so. I'm super.
Might have to be Samantha. Might have to be Samantha.
It goes both ways.
Samantha Radhi.
Early on, yeah. I did get a couple from like hot sauce swaps, which, I mean, basically through friends and family. I imagine a lot of the small batch makers started that way. I mean, you posted it on your Facebook. Hey, I got some of these available for like friends and family, and then hey, they like them. But even at that point, when I was just handing out bottles to try out, I was still focused on, you know, labels to a degree, or something that looked nice. But with like my culinary background, I understood what was needed. But early on, there was a handful of swaps where I did not enjoy those sauces, and I still probably have some unopened. That might be fine, but I don't have an interest to. It's just, you got to do your due diligence, grind your teeth. You have to be in it to win it. Don't just think you can pull a bottle of hot sauce out of your kitchen and be like, hey, you guys should try this. It's like, I got hundreds from respectful people that I still have yet to try, that I'm going to put those way in front of something else that just looks sketchy or just questionable, you know?
Yeah. But
what about
honestly,
you,
like, I was going to say, like, I remember like you and I were like way early in the beginning, because you and I somehow found each other like very early on as we were both starting into this journey. I remember talking to each other about like how to work on the labels and like barcodes and stuff, and nutritional facts and all of that. And I had a lot of questions, and you helped me out with a bunch of stuff. So like I remember that both of our first interests like actually was just like legitimize the whole thing, and not just, you know, be bathtub hot sauce. And I don't know how like so many people like can just go on being a bathtub hot sauce for so long. Like it is, I know it's a little complicated and lengthy process to like get all your paperwork and stuff, but like it should be like one of the first things you do before even attempting to like sell hot sauce, let me just say. And I have received some that I'm just like, haha. It's like somebody goes like, yeah, I make like 3 bottles in my kitchen every, you know, so whatever, and blah blah blah, and here it is. And I'm like, yeah, totally, dude. I am not going to probably eat this right now, or ever. I don't know. Say what?
What? So, anyways, so even on that note too, I mean, first case scenario, I mean, LLC. Legitimize your business. And then the second thing is just like work out of a state inspected facility at the least. I mean, if people are just like, I really want to make hot sauce, it's really, really good, everybody should try it. I mean, for you being like,
don't make it in your house if you have like pets and stuff, and like there's cat hair in my hot sauce now. You know,
bare minimum. I mean, at least do that, because then you can still take the more appropriate steps to legitimize it even more. While you already have that basis. But I mean, to get a hold of your health department and be like, hey, I currently make hot sauce. They're like, where do you make it? Oh, in my house. They're just probably going to laugh at you and be like, all right, we don't have time. Next.
Right.
I mean,
I wonder,
there is cottage fruit law, which allows you to like manufacture it out of your house, a certain amount of stuff. But just try to be safe. If you just be safe, because you're like giving people something to consume, and that's like, you know, very important. Like there's botulism, you can kill people, and just like other stuff. Like what if you don't wash your hands and you like went to poop and now you touch a hot sauce bottle as you're making it? Now there's like dookie in your hot sauce, and we call it like Duke sauce, and then now your sauce is just killing people because it's the shit or something.
My anxiety of a chihuahua is just like questioning everybody that's ever going to give me sauce in the future. Like anyone that reaches out, I'll be like, how often do you wash your hands? Like,
like where were you when you made this?
I wonder if
Which
some
is
of the
nice.
sauce makers that like send stuff out, like the ones that are trying to start out, maybe it's just they don't have the right path of like getting the right guidance. Because I know a lot of people talk about they reached out Hot Graham Sauce Company. He reached out to a lot of like established people to get kind of mentorship on how to do it. But if you're just making sauce and someone's like, oh, it's pretty good, and you think I'm just going to send it out, somebody should be directing them to like, hey, the proper channels. And I'm going to name drop something we all like. The Hot Sauce Summit actually is a great opportunity to do that and be like,
Yes.
hey, I have questions. I don't know where to go. You can ask any question. There are no dumb questions. So it's like, that would be the guidance of like, I like the sauce. I get a lot of good feedback. All right, where are you at? Oh, no LLC, no this, no that. Like, you got to get those things.
That's a great simple point right there, because I mean, honestly, even like Roddy can attest to it, myself, there are so many helpful people along the way that want to see you do well. I know Broho Sauce Co. Those dudes were a huge amount of help to me when I was very started. They were the first company I did like a swap with, and I think they're out by you, Roddy. I don't think it's Pennsylvania or like Philly, but I think it's Pennsylvania. They have like cool goblin artwork.
Yeah,
Super nice dudes, but they were like so helpful. Or it's without that little like light guidance, I don't know where this would have been. But then I met Roddy, and we were both kind of like figuring these things out together. And then there's so many other people like Josue from Severe Foods, super helpful. But it's honestly, if you have the right questions, be intelligent about it. Don't just ask stupid questions like, how do you make hot sauce? It's like, no. Like,
yeah, like we're not going to answer that. That's the dumbest fucking question. Like, if you come to me and ask me that, I'm going to straight out just ignore you. Like, make sure your questions are precise and you know what you're asking for, and we will always try to answer.
Mhm.
But if your question is just like super vague, like, I'm not going to even entertain that. Why would I?
or even
And-
if someone's just starting out, if they have everything else good, and if they want to talk through some details, I mean, the Instagram chat stuff, it's lengthy, but I mean, if you're just like, hey, can we just jump on the phone for like 5 minutes? If I have time, I would love to do that. Like, reach out. That would be way more beneficial than sending messages and back. But if you just want to make sure you're in the right lane, you're going the right way, I'm down for help. I want to see other people do well, hopefully do very unique things with them, like individually. Don't tread on my territory, but you do you, and you fucking crush it, you know.
And I think this is a good moment to say that this episode is sponsored by the Hot Sauce Summit. Actually, check out the Hot Sauce Summit here on Instagram and the website too. We hold a quarterly meeting where we host a hot sauce maker, and we have they exhibit their company and talk about how they started and all of that for about an hour, and then we have like open conversations with them, and we have get to ask questions and stuff. It's a pretty cool event. Check it out. I'm gonna drop a link on the bio of this episode. Yeah, cool. Thank you, Hot Sauce Summit, for sponsoring this episode.
Mike's gonna get mad at me. He's like, you went on a podcast and you let someone else get sponsored by mentioning the Hot Sauce Summit. Be like, yeah, that's what we do. It's community building.
Yeah,
No, I think about something with the with someone sauce makers, sending something out and too early on and not having it properly tested. Even if best case scenario, it's perfectly fine. It doesn't hurt anybody. There's no pH imbalance or whatever. It's still not been vetted where they've tested it and gone through the thing where it might not be that good. It might be pretty average because they didn't get enough feedback on it. And so if you send it to us, to Hot Sauce Guide, to all these different reviewers out there at its kind of like okay level, where it's like, hey, it's better than Tabasco. I mean, for us, better than Tabasco is like a 50 out of 100. So it's like, that's setting you up for failure, because then it's like, hey, I wanted you to try the sauce. Didn't we already try this? Like, yeah, but it's different now. It's like, it's a harder sell than like, get it perfected, like get it vetted with like, you've got family and friends that want to try it, let them try it safely. And then like, make sure you're using the proper kitchen and everything. But it's just, you're not setting yourself up for success unless like you happen just like rookie of the year, just knock it out of the park on one bottle and said, this is perfect. Like the mythical Mama Juana jar of sauce that I heard about.
I think they allow people, once they visit the studio, for like $1 to have like a spoonful dip in it, but that's it. Just one dip per person.
When special guests come to my kitchen and I tell them the story and I go to my little in the back, And, what I do is like I dip like a little plastic spoon and just let it like touch the tip, and that's all they get to try. It's a little lick of it, like just like a faint taste.
I'm gonna like crash a night in your studio, and I'm just gonna coat some wings in that shit. Just don't get right in there.
I'm gonna find you. Ooh, I'm gonna find you with garlic bread, just like completely cleaning the jar, like, soak that into the bread.
I'm like, yeah, Roddy, it's pretty good. You got any more?
Sam looking like Winnie the Pooh with his hand stuck in the honey jar.
Hey, it's
That'd be
just
hilarious.
good. It's
I just,
man.
Sam is so freakishly tall. I just imagine Sam like tall ass Sam in the middle of the night, like with just wearing a shirt and his underwear in my kitchen, just like with his hand stuck in a jar.
Ooh, I'm not that tall.
I
used to be like
compared to most
6'3", but working in restaurants for years, I lost an inch or so. No shit. Like, it's terrible.
Are you just hunched down now?
Yep. Hunched for 18 years, just completely. The kitchens are not built for tall people. And then short people will say, well, they're not built for short people too. I'm just like, yeah, but you don't have to hunch over. Like, you're at like eye level, which would be amazing. I would love that.
It's easier to get a little stepping stool than to have to hunch over for hours on end.
Yeah, I like having all my tables. Like, I'm not short. I'm 5'11", almost 6 feet.
Perfect.
And
Same.
yeah, so I like having all my tables in the kitchen to be at like a comfortable height. So my shipping station, for example, is like, I don't know, like 4.5 feet up into the, so that like 4 feet maybe, so I can have like I don't have to hunch for anything. My hands like easily fall onto my table, so I can like ship stuff and like package stuff and like type on my computer without like having to hunch down, because it's just uncomfortable.
God, yeah, man. So I guess, back to some more spicy topics. I mean, the Heatsource. What's really next for you guys? I mean, are you even going to consider jumping into like hot sauce branded territory yourself? Or, I mean, you got a cool logo if you get some merchandise or something.
So we are working on merchandise. So that is something we have been working on. We're working on the hot sauce thing. It's like, I just don't think we've talked about it. It's been like one of those pie in the sky things. We've had a lot of good ideas where it's like, that's a good 5-year plan. That's a good 3-year plan. That's a good 2. But it's something where we're still very much just trying a lot of sauce. We keep trying sauce. We're like, we would never have thought of these flavor combinations, where there's a lot of learning of flavors that we have, because we're, Michigan, Midwest, our palates are whatever's around here. Yeah. So it's like any type of, we had one sauce that I just was looking at that has a lot of like flavors from the Philippines. And I'm like, those look great. I don't know a lot about the Philippine flavors that they have on that. So learning both peppers, especially, but also about like different flavor profiles is something I would want to do before getting into that. But I think I already told Roddy that I'm just going to have to make a Weparito sauce at some point. So
Roddy,
yeah, hey, I'm gonna take the jump here and like say, if you need a small manufacturer to make it, hey, hi, I know a guy with a facility that can make.
I don't know, Matt. You might want to stick to the Midwest. He's like an East Coast boy.
Shut up, Sam, because we are on the same time zone.
That's the weird thing.
Yeah.
Somehow I'm Midwest with Sam, but I'm your time zone. I don't understand.
It is that stupid little portion of the country, like right before the jump of the time zone.
The fact that Hook and Arrow in Connecticut, you guys and myself are in one time zone, and Sam's on another.
Stanky too. Stanky's
Stanky.
20 hours south. No, like less. Like it's 15 hours to Georgia or whatever Atlanta here is. Florida. Yeah, what the hell was I gonna say?
What a lesson learned, dude. Just with like these dudes like reviewing a ton, like Mark, Hot Sauce Guy, and you guys with the Heatsource. Like, you guys have so much flavor under your belt, like Roddy, we got to keep an eye out for these guys. They're gonna be like, they're gonna know the next big sauce to be made before we make it.
You know what's funny? You guys probably catch trends before anybody else.
Probably.
I could see that happening. I mean, the problem right now is we're so overwhelmed with how much sauce there is out there. We're like, we were hit a streak of just hitting a bunch of Boston sauce because of the Boston Hot Sauce Fest. We got a bunch from there. And so we were doing a streak of that, where the trend for that area we might find, but it's like nothing on the West Coast was tried other than Lucky Dog. And then we got some sauce from the Stanky Sauce raffle. And then now we got a variety. But that, I mean, the last one we tried last week was Miletta's, and that was the mommy sauce. there's nothing to learn other than pain is sometimes okay, but that's about it.
It's a heater.
Oh man,
I'm okay. It's
Is
going to
that
be
the
the
hottest so
coolest
far
episode.
that you've had?
I think later that morning I messaged Roddy and said La Muerte 2.0 has been overthrown because it was, I mean, there are some sauces where it's like, oh, Hellhound, if you had enough of it, or if there's a certain way it hits, like it might rival the 2.0. Like there's certain sauces that can really hit, but Miletta's was like, I don't know. I mean, it has that 15 million Scoville powder in it.
Oh,
So
extracts in there,
yeah.
like the little crystal.
Yeah,
I won't
heat
fuck
level,
with
like,
those.
what's the point, man?
That was
Like, what the
that was
hell?
my thought when I was trying it. I mean, and luckily I handled it okay. I was able to talk for the podcast after a little bit of salivating at the start of it, but it was one where it's like I tried to explain to people because they're like, well, why would you do that? I'm like, there are people that want extreme challenge. I'm like, honestly, if there was someone that says I can handle anything, extract, whatever, this is the sauce to try to humble them. Like you can have those sauces for a reason. It's just not from a culinary standpoint, one that I'm like, oh, I got to put that on something unless it's like diluted in a lot. And at that point, I might want to, maybe I just want to be economical and just use a little bit of that instead of another sauce. But I like to smother the sauce on stuff. So it's got its purpose, but it's just not one as frequent.
I'm gonna start reviewing hot sauce account or something. I want to do like spoonfuls every day, and I'm gonna put it like on TikTok and be like, "Hey, this is this whole," and just have a
Are
reaction.
you gonna follow all the trends? Like every day, I'm gonna add one more drop of hot sauce until I'm famous.
No reaction.
I just saw those guys. I just learned about those guys, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Which one though? Like, there's like tons of branchings of other people doing it, and it's like, just be yourselves. Come on.
I don't know. There's the one that does nothing but habanero sauces, where I've just been like, okay, like I was curious if they actually did like a dropper each day, and they weren't doing that. So I'm like, well, how do you know it's another drop of sauce? So I think it's just they're trying more sauce.
I want to say something here.
Yeah.
It bothers me a little bit that you say habanero. I just go by habanero, not the ñe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I apologize.
Habanero. Habanero. Yeah, there you go.
Pina de nada.
Pina de nada. Ah, come on.
Also, I cannot roll my R's either, so I'm on Sam's boat on this.
Yes. White boys represent Midwest. Let's go.
I think it's a Midwest thing.
It doesn't get any whiter and Midwestern than the two of you guys.
Yeah, we're white as fuck.
Yeah, no, that's true.
You guys need some like East Coast sunshine, So,
Roddy, what you need is some Midwest tamales from Costco.
Yeah, I thought, we got the best tamales in Kansas City this year. We're heading. Well, actually, we stopped there both times to get tamales. Some of the ones that I gave you were from that place that I got them from.
You never gave me any.
I gave Hayden. Did I give you tamales?
Oh my goodness, Roddy! I had no tamales when I was there. I am crushed.
Man, I'm so sorry.
We didn't even get a chance to go to Sadie's either because of Mark wanted to go dick around. But I'm like, dude, Matt. Next year, if we go, we're going to Sadie's. It's just big proper.
We need to go to Sadie's for our goodbye brunch or like whatever, because we need to hit the road again with like 35 tamales each. Okay, because those tamales were like the best.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I would do tamales. Mike actually, his household, him and his wife, they make tamales like a couple times a year. I think on Roddy's episode we talked about how they make like 80 tamales at a time, just like huge batches. But also the Fiery Food Show.
Last in my house.
I was even to the last day. I was like looking. I'm like, well, I could take an airplane. I could take a flight, get in for like 6 hours, fly back, like just show up on Sunday and be like, hey, I'm here. What'd I miss? Like. I was not giving up until actually, it actually closed on Sunday.
Oh,
dang.
I mean, on that note, I mean, I know there's things that we have looking forward to. Roddy and I, we talk about Albuquerque way too much. And for like a fun event, it's a fun event. But at the end of the day, it is a trade show. So it's as fun as a trade show can be. But I mean, what other events you guys hitting up? I know Roddy and I will be at the Illinois Hot Sauce Expo with Steve Seabury, which that's a fucking party.
That's actually our next one that we're going to be at, because it's far enough away from Mike to, have his kid and figure that out. And then we'll be there Saturday and Sunday. I scared Radhi for a second today.
Oh my god, he texted me earlier and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be there like Friday and Saturday," and I was like, "What the fuck do you mean Friday, dude? I'm driving out Friday. This show's
VIP
on
Friday, I guess.
I
Yeah,
was
you
like,
didn't hear about
dude,
the Friday party?
yeah, I was like, my wife took off on Friday so we can drive out there because we're driving together. Like, I'm like, no, this cannot happen.
I think it was a combination of all the lists of the different events, and I just like 3-day weekend somewhere else that just like melted into that one. But the Illinois one is our first kind of focused one, and then I know that there's a couple other ones happening this year that we're going to kind of take one and then say, okay, now can we make the next one and kind of work our way down, because there's one in like Toledo, Cincinnati. All the local ones are easy to get to.
Man, so hear me out. What you saw of content in New Mexico from like all of us, Mark, Sam, myself, and like anyone else you follow, was very calm, very trade showy. Even though we were like the party people and like always very loud and obnoxious, it was quiet compared to what a Steve Seabury event is going to be like.
Oh yeah, it looks insane,
and dude. I went to the New York Heatsource Expo last year, and it was wild. He throws an actual party. It's such a wild, crazy event with all this like live entertainment that New Mexico's just honestly missing out on. They could have so much more. Like, they have a huge stage. Why not, have like hot sauce eating contests and like pepper eating contests and like other spicy foods? Like, it makes no sense. But the Steve Seabury shows, dude, there's wrestling. There's
I wonder if it's just because of the trade show appeal. But on that note, it's like they really need to just, if anybody's listening, just like have one day be the day for trade and the other two public only. None of this like 5 hours lull in the morning where it's blah. Like, no, open it up Saturday, Sunday. Like, I know everybody says, well, we can't have live music because it's too loud. I'm like, well, then something. I mean,
but they had the one guy like over the PA just like screaming all this loud stuff, and here we are.
Every time he spoke, I was trying to talk to people. I can't talk right now. Just you can't say shit.
Wait, no, because he will be so loud the whole time. We have Matt Friedman in the house, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Why is it being so loud?
No.
So is it just like because it's been going on for so long, you think just the tradition of it's what the show has always been is why they don't do that? Or
now that it's changing ownership, there may be some changes. Who knows? Because they did sell the show to a new guy.
It really needs to be, yeah. Because I spoke to him about music. He's like, well, we'll see what we can do. But all the old timey guys are just like, oh, you don't want music in here. It's too loud. I'm like, well,
what is it you call them? The old Smokies?
The old Smokies. Because you get it, man. I mean, it's like, if it's a trade show, yes, I understand, it's business professional, but it's so many hours of like every day, and it's not just trade. It's like the general public, they want to be there, and they're why we're there, because they're the fun ones. They're not trying to, pull one over on us and sell us something while we're trying to be there selling our own product.
Right. Well, and if you have certain events, like if you have wing eating competition or some type of like spicy competition scheduled out, someone that comes on Saturday that's like, oh, I don't have a reason to come back because I tried the sauce I want to try, has a reason to come back, and you get that repeat person that potentially could buy more sauce. So it's like it does give, I mean, I know that one was sold out, I think every day, or at least Saturday and Sunday. I think the Fiery Food Show was sold out both days, but it's like, it's just a variety to get people back, increase traffic, or have some place on site, or if they have a different venue where you have a stage where, hey, outside we have a stage with music and we have events, and inside is where you get the sauce and you can rotate in and out. And I don't know, just something to kind of increase the traffic. I'm just gonna start coordinating it. We'll do a Fiery Food Show Midwest. It'll be fine.
Nice,
dude. Why isn't there? I mean, Steve's doing something in Joliet, which is basically Chicago, Minneapolis, St. Paul, huge areas. Nothing. Even like Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I see nothing. I know like Jungle Gyms in Fairfield, Ohio. They'll be doing like a fun
one in August.
Yes. They'll be doing that fun.
Yo, let's go.
I'm definitely planning on it with
I'm applying.
Yeah, that'll be a super fun one, Matt, for you guys to jump to. I think that's somewhat close to you. I mean,
yeah, it's not a bad drive. I mean, it's maybe an extra
Ohio, right?
hour of it's Ohio, so it's like an extra hour maybe from the Joliet one. So it's not bad.
So it's like 7 hours from here or something like that. It's not a bad drive because I've driven way more than that. Guys, I want to jump into like a little segment here that we're gonna like call. I don't know what this is. But Sam earlier had the idea of giving you, Matt, the option of just like the open freedom of asking us whatever you want to know about either like our trade shows, about our companies, about whatever, like what any kind of questions you may have for any of us, for either Sam or myself. Just shoot and ask. Let it be raw. Whatever you want to know, go.
Oh my God, this is so much pressure. I want it to be stated that I was not prepared to come on this podcast until like a little bit ago. Otherwise, I would have prepared a whole laundry list of questions. This is unfair. I'm going to start with an easy one because I need time to think. But I want you guys to tell me what's your opinion of the most overrated food vessel for hot sauce.
Oh,
from your personal standpoint.
What you got,
Roddy?
Roddy?
I know there's popular ones, but
I'm gonna go with pizza. I think pizza's a dumb way of trying hot sauce. Although I will say that I am that dumb person that loves trying to do hot sauce on pizza almost before anything else. I don't know. I feel like pizza is such a plain vessel because it's just like doughy and cheesy, and sometimes it can be like tomato pie or something. And it lends itself to be something that is like savory, and depending on the toppings, almost even sweet. If you have like sweet peppers and like some people put pineapples. I don't do pineapples on pizza. Fuck that. So I feel like it's perfect way to try hot sauce because it's just like plain, as opposed to like tacos because they're so flavorful. As opposed to like anything else. If you're gonna try like on food right away, but then like if you're just gonna like try hot sauce plainly by itself, I do like crackers or maybe just like chips and stuff. And like I feel like those two are the what the fuck was the question again? Like the overrated foods? Yeah, I think pizza
overrated food vessel for hot sauce. Yeah,
pizza. I think I babbled a little too much.
I could see one of the things with pizza is it already has a very specific path with its flavor that hot sauce. Unless you make a specific pizza hot sauce, I've seen one that has like red wine vinegar that has a little bit more of like an Italian, like with some of the seasonings and stuff. But if it's not meant for it, it does stand out for certain types of food combinations. So I could see that.
Sam is so into thought right now.
He's gonna pull. I'm curious on the culinary background being.
I'm a dumb, regular person that goes like, yeah, pizza, dude. But Sam's gonna drop like some like majestic chef inspired like crazy wild shit culinary.
This is an amazing question, Matt, because I'm having the hardest time thinking because you're saying that's like what's a overrated vessel for tasting.
It can still be good because overrated. I mean, we talk about on your last episode the guest you had, the Chilipino. Was it Chilipino? Where she talked about the Reaper pepper, and I'm like, yeah, I like a lot of Reaper sauces, but it doesn't mean that it can't be overrated still as far as an overuse of a pepper.
Because I know, like, with Roddy's suggestion on pizza for being like an overrated vessel for like tasting hot sauce is dead on. I feel like because I think a lot of people they have like, well, I always grab a hot sauce and taste with pizzas, which I have done many of times because normally it's like it's a basic frozen pepperoni, whatever it may be, and you just got a bunch of your buddies' hot sauce and you're dumping it on stuff. Some things work really good, some things don't. I know Roddy is saying like I don't really like pineapple on pizza. I'll kind of go with whatever, but like with pina denata on pizza, it's hard. And I kind of like that appeal because it's not just fresh pineapple. But I like what he stated about pizza. For me, dude, it's weird too because I would say for a vessel for tasting, I would say tacos. Not like street tacos, not like straight up meat, cilantro, onion, sauce, because that would be clutch. Perfect vessel for tasting, but the white boy tacos,
like the American taco,
people go traditional like that.
Bunk.
Yeah, if people go traditional, just meat, cilantro, and onions, that would be actually pretty good. Like, that's like
perfect.
Honestly,
but you're talking to white boys, like
not overrated. I think it's just like the perfect vessel, actually.
Yep.
Rather than
I think
like
as that, because you're talking to white boys like us, and when we were even growing up, if somebody handed us like a true taco, which is like corn tortilla, meat, cilantro, a little onion, we'd probably be like, "What the fuck is this?"
Like, where's the cheese, man?
Where's our lettuce? Our lettuce and tomato and cheese and sour cream.
As a little kid, where's the?
Why isn't this America? Why isn't this Taco Bell?
Where's our Ortega tomato soup? I mean, taco sauce.
Oh my god.
Yep. But I would say, like like just the basic white boy tacos are terrible for tasting hot sauce. Because the seasoning normally on the ground beef traditionally is so much.
Strong.
I mean, it's just coriander, cumin, chili powder.
Beef.
You're like, holy shit.
I have a close friend of mine. She gets just very belligerent with me where she's like, what is this? And I'm like, it's nothing. It's a taco sauce packet. We bought it before we knew better. I swear. It's like having to explain ourselves because she's full on Mexican of like, you do not use that. This is what when we my son's first birthday, we did a taco bar and she was like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I'll just make taco meat. She's like, no, I will make the taco meat. That will be my gift. And she made from scratch refried beans, taco meat from scratch, the whole thing. And I'm like, this is the best taco bar I've ever had in my life. So, but yeah, I agree. It's like a classic, authentic taco, perfect vessel because you can taste it with, whatever. If, I think Sam's mentioned it before. And I told someone recently at my office where I was like, if you go to a Mexican restaurant to get tacos and they've got that cow tongue.
Yes.
Yo,
I was just going to say
lengua.
that.
Lengua, papi. Yo,
Yeah.
I just had lengua today. It's delicious.
Isn't that got to be the most like clutch, perfect, clean slate? Because normally I've never had lengua too overpowered, like overly flavorful. It's just beef. But then that was some, raw white onion, fresh cilantro, and whatever the fucking hot sauce.
Yo, and a little bit of lime on top.
Yeah, that'll be great. Yeah.
Always the place by us always has the foil with the lime wedges in there, and it's like perfect. Oh man,
dude, what do you got, Matt? I mean, would you have one that you have up your sleeve that you think you're just like, God? Because I mean, I don't think anyone's ever gonna say chicken wings are overrated because I mean, that's like I think why hot sauce was invented.
It would be impossible.
Have to be hot. So I think that's an item that cannot be overrated because they're meant to be hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's at that point you're just trying to say it to make controversy for that. The American taco is a good one. The pizza one, it is funny you mentioned that pineapple hot sauce is good on pizza because Mike is vehemently against pineapple on pizza, and we've had a few pineapple based hot sauces where he's like, I'd put that on pizza. And I'm like, you know what you did.
Yeah,
what's that?
Piña dañada goes great on ham pizza. People don't normally like it, but I love me some ham pizza.
But I'm trying to think what would be.
Great question, dude. I love it.
I like how the question's going to stump me the hardest, and I'm the one that came up with it.
Dude, it hurt my head.
I think one, and Mike's going to kill me for this one. I think one that like, unless it's just traditional, like Mike does Frank's on this mac and cheese. It has a good spot for hot sauce, but it's not really welcoming to a variety. It's like you can do buffalo chicken, like buffalo chicken mac and cheese is great. You can do like a Frank's or like a very traditional red hot sauce, but you can't really go crazy with it. And so people are like, oh, like mac and cheese and hot sauce. It's like it has a specific lane. It's not.
The problem with that it also could be that like mac and cheese is just so cheesy. Cheesier than what we consider like pizza to be, and I feel
and what kind of mac and cheese too?
Yeah,
there's so many varieties.
Well, I'm going like box mac and cheese too, like just the cheap and easy way. Box mac and cheese, let's try hot. Yeah, like the Kellogg. What is it?
Kraft mac and cheese.
Kraft macaroni and cheese.
Hey, Kraft mac and cheese is on point. If you tag them on Instagram, they'll immediately reply back and be like, awesome.
Shit. I'm gonna be like, yo, your mac and cheese is the worst. Try hot sauce on. Let me tag you on this.
Let me just say, like I said, mac and cheese is an overrated vessel unless it's Kraft blue box macaroni and cheese. Yep. Fantastic. The creaminess, the texture.
I think it's just that it kind of like cancels out the hot sauce itself, and it is that box mac and cheese is so salty. I feel like it will definitely throw off your actual taste of the sauce.
I think if you're making a homemade mac and cheese, it would be much better.
Yeah, like I don't know if Roddy could dip into this too much, but your thoughts on potato salad or like cold macaroni salad with hot sauce?
I mean, I like a little bit of heat in some of those, but it's
potato salad with classic like Frank's, Tabasco, any of that stuff is so fucking good. It's like it's cold, creamy, acidity, bitter, hot, spicy. Oh, it's lovely. But I wouldn't put a ton of random shit on that. You just got to put, the old tried and true, the old Smokies.
Yeah. I would say we had a Dill Serrano habanero hot sauce that I was like, well, this could be a good base for that. I mean, pretty much anything with dill, we use that with we talked about potato salad. We talked about putting it in like a veggie dip, or just like replacing a relish for a hot dog.
You have another hot sauce with dill?
Yeah.
Which one have you tried?
DD224 Grand Traverse Sauce Company in Michigan.
Oh, nice.
So
Of all places.
they're the one that has the tasting room.
Oh yeah, those dudes, man. Like when I was listening to that episode, I was like, man, I can totally see myself opening a place with a tasting room like this. And
You already have one. What are you talking about?
Oh, it was DD214.
I
want to make sure that's correction.
I want to have like a place with like a first floor like street access to like a tasting room of hot sauce that people can come in and just like light themselves up.
Yeah, that would be good.
With like a taco truck next to it, like a built-in taco spot. Oh man, now I want tacos. I want to make tacos. I want to build a place now with a taco truck inside and like a hot sauce tasting room. And the factory can be in the back, and we make the hot sauce in like a glass wall like that, like
it's like a brewery
style. Oh my god, I'm gonna have a hot sauce brewery. This is gonna be crazy.
And it just has a sign that says, tacos, no cheese, no lettuce, no, like just all the things you can't have.
Your options are cilantro and onions, and that's it, babe.
They're like, oh, like you want more? You can have lime.
Yo, and lime, yeah, I love lime.
And then you're just a big salsa, like hot sauce section.
Yeah, hot sauce by the the ladle section.
It just rises from the center of each table when you say the word hot sauce. It just shows up like Darth Vader coming out of his chamber
in like a boiling pot.
No, that's a killer question, dude. Do you got anything else that you and your co-host have thought, like, speaking to hot sauce people, the ins and outs, what's this term, why do you do that, anything wild for us? Because we love this. I mean, we are always trying to ask people, do you have questions for us? What do you want to know? Because we just talk to ourselves and we have a blast with it, but it's really cool to be informative and just be helpful in the community too.
Right,
I'd be curious on this, and this might be asking for trouble. What is your take on hot sauce reviewers? Because I know you talked about people that ask for free sauce and ask for ask for free sauce, and like, if you're gonna ask review sauce, you should be buying it as much as you can. Like, obviously people are gonna send sauce, what's gonna happen, but like, it's obviously getting the word out. But also, do you see much return on that? Because unless you have like specific tracking of coupon codes or whatever, it's like you don't know what that impact is unless they're telling you, hey, I saw you on this. And unless it's like a hot ones that's giving you a big spike, there's a lot of reviewers out there. I've learned, at different formats and platforms, like, what is your take of how, like, wading through what's worth it to send a sauce, what versus kind of playing a little hard to get to make them buy the sauce, because it's like, hey, I'm not going to just give you sauce for free.
What you got, Roddy?
Oh, no, I'm throwing it at you, baby.
Okay, so
I like
another great question. Open honesty, like a young Sam Sauce. I mean, we were just whipping bottles all over the place just because you wanted that hype. You wanted to get good words, good reviews, all that stuff, which sucks because looking back, I make these products for me. Yeah. I don't make a sauce for you and not for me, because I fucking love what I do. And I think they're the best sauces on the market for what I want. So I'm always happy with that. So I don't know why I always look for validation through other people, but we've done it. But then it's just like, I've done kind of a like commission, like discount codes for people to like review and put on their pages or whatever. And I could like keep track of, if you could even call it that, how many of those coupon codes were used, like 0. So it's my whole point is, if you're sending someone to review sauce, what they're going to do out of it is they're going to get content out of it. They're going to get follows out of it. They're going to have something for entertaining purposes out of it. And we're just the vessel providing that. We don't get sales from it. We don't get anything out of that. Basically, we just get seen in the distance a little bit. And that's about it. Like we were never able to capitalize any on those things, and you can't blame the reviewer, but it's just all these reviewers think, hey, send us some sauce because we have thousands of people following us and that'll be great. It's just like, cool, you're going to gain more follow. You're going to gain my followers out of it. You're going to get cool content that's free, and I'm not going to benefit anything from it. So honestly, right now, with you as in the Heatsource or Mark, Hot Sauce Guide, there are so many individuals that review that support as in purchase. I don't know why I would just want to hand them out like candy for free anymore. It just doesn't serve a purpose because I feel like our products are good enough where people enjoy them. And if you truly do want to support, that's the best way to do it. And if you want to say, hey,
yeah, that's one that I was kind of like going to that too, because I feel like if you're really trying to like support us as makers and like you want to like help, quote unquote, don't let it be by just like, hey, I'm gonna give you exposure, send me free stuff and I'll post it on my Instagram. I don't give a fuck about your Instagram followers and stuff. Like 90% of the time is not going to end in actually being a profitable thing. So in the end, it's just a loss for me because making the sauce is expensive. Sending you the sauce is even more expensive because shipping is stupid expensive. And I spend a lot of money on like shipping stuff and like boxing and stuff and like all the materials that go into it. Like you have to think about everything. So if those people that actually want to like help us out, if you were to ask like nicely, hey, do you have like a coupon code currently active that I could use to buy something because I still want to buy, I would 100% even like I would make one if you ask me that way to like probably just help you out a little bit because I still want to like make the sale and you want to make the content. But content creation for you shouldn't be free out of, you know, my labor. So I agree with Sam there. Like if you want to do something with my stuff, like don't just ask for it to go ahead and make it, you know, because what if you go ahead and I send you sauce and it's just like this, you get to create just this free piece of whatever and you get a bunch of followers, you get a bunch of interaction, and you can be selling merch maybe, and now you're selling your own merch and making a bunch of money out of my stuff that you make content with. So it's kind of like just a dick move.
Well, you look at like the cost of sauce versus the cost of paying a company to help build your platform. It's like, why wouldn't you just pay for the sauce? You can still review it. You can still share it. I mean, I think they even I've read somewhere where it's like, if you can't support someone by spending money, you can share and all that, but like, don't expect something to be for free. You can comment and interact on your posts and then eventually buy the sauce or go to a market or whatever. So it's just always interesting because when I first started with Mike and I was like, okay, there's a couple of well-established reviewers. Like, okay, I see that. And I'm like, but how to differentiate the people that they'd be like, hey, yeah, try the sauce, you know, here's it for, you know, whether it be for free or just reaching out, or even when I was reaching out saying, hey, we're going to try your sauce. Is that cool? Is that all right? It's a weird kind of dynamic because it's like, you don't know how the sauce maker views the reviewers or the ancillary hot sauce community that's not actually making the sauce. So
I say bring it on.
Example, you don't fall in that category of just like straight up reviewers because you guys do so much research just to show where the company came from, how it started, like what their background is, how they got to like do things a certain way. So I feel like you guys are more than just reviewers of the sauce itself, but more of like the company as a whole and the person or people behind it. Which I think it's pretty cool, a pretty cool element. I remember like listening to the first episode you guys did on my company, and it was Salsa Roja, I believe. And I was like smiling super hard the entire time because it was like almost learning about myself. And it was scary. It was super scary because I was like, there is so much information about me out there that these guys just like compiled into an hour of like pretty much the last like 3 years of my life. And I was like, holy shit, this is amazing, but also really crazy and scary.
It's a great kind of litmus test to be like, all right, I think I'm pretty much off the grid. And then it's like, all right, well, this is what I found so far. And it's like, what? Like I was digging deep on, I was researching Cast Iron Kyle because it's like, it was something outside of the normal hot sauce, like channel. So I was listening to his podcast, all that. I didn't bring it up in the pod. I wish I did. It was like a 13-year-old YouTube video of him just like showing how you can salvage stuff and get money for like scrap metal. And I'm like, what? I found the weirdest video. And I'm like,
yo, this is amazing.
So I don't know if you guys even stumbled upon, because I have old band stuff on YouTube, and I was a kid out there, some Sam Sauce commercials. But yeah, like when they did my episode, Roddy, the first one was like Pina Dagnata. I was outside. Well, I was in my car with Hannah. We were in our car waiting because it was shitty weather and it was one of her friends' like outdoor weddings, and we had a couple time to kill. So we're listening to the episode. Big smile. It was awesome. I mean, just like the facts, the informational bombs you drop, whether it's like our past, our info, the sauce, what's going into it, like, you know, landmarks locally. I mean, I just thought that
very well organized.
So cool.
Well, it's funny because it didn't really click. Like, it wasn't our idea when we first started before the podcast was going on. It's like, oh, this is what we're gonna do. But I was like, well, I want to deep dive. I want to research. I want to know about these sauce makers. We started with Scott, which Lucky Dog's been around, for such a long time that you can find a lot of articles and all that. But then we did Stanky Sauce, and it was just because I think it was a Instagram live talking about the summit. And that was the first one where they're like, we have to talk about our brand and promote ourselves so much. It's so nice to have someone else doing the talking and promoting. And you find these articles they don't realize were done, or a podcast interview they did when they were first starting out. And then they're like, I think it was the brothers, they were telling each other, like, did you talk to them? It's like, no, I didn't talk to them. Did you talk to them? And I'm like, yes, that is what I want. I want to get that. I want to achieve that level every time. So it does become challenging though, when there's sauce makers where it's just a brand. There's really no, like, you go to About Us and it's, error. There's nothing there. It's like, okay, this is going to take a little more elbow grease to dig. And you might have more facts where it's like, hey, let's talk about the city that this was made in, or let's talk about.
Do you get like discouraged at all when you have like, because like at that moment, like imagine it's like one of those sauces that is not even like made by like an individual with a story, but like a major corporation. Do you at that moment like just feel less interested in like reviewing or like even talking about the sauce?
We have some sauces that initially I was like, oh, this would be a really cool one to try. And it was one where I'm like, it's a little more corporate than I thought it was when I saw the bottle. I'm like, oh, what a unique design, or what this. And I'm like, we can do that one later. And like, to me, it's more fun to like reach out to someone and say, hey, we're going to try your sauce. Just let us know if there's anything you want us to like bring up, or it's going to air on this date. So if there's an event, and it's nice to have that kind of like building of like the community. And so when it's just a corporation, like, we let Franks know we tried them on the first episode. They didn't care.
Really? Did they
we
even, like,
we
see
didn't
the
talk. We didn't talk great. I don't even think they saw the message.
Oh
So,
man, that's
We'll
awesome.
drop some names every once in a while, and sometimes people think it's like, we don't do that. It's like, these people aren't listening to this, and if they are, hey, awesome, they listen to it. But if they don't want to know the nitty gritty of the sauce being
right
spilled,
before closing this episode, I'm gonna just some hot fucking water in here. Because when I asked that question, what I was thinking, it was like something like someone like Cajuns, for example, Cajuns, however you say it. I feel like Cajuns, they are a big company in the industry.
Huge.
Who
Yeah.
just like manufactures and shit on hot sauce that at this point it's probably not even like, oh, I'm thinking about making this recipe that has this thing and like this flavor profile, and I want it to be tasty because whatever. And I'm like researching this. I feel like at this level, they're just a company that goes like, okay, a hot sauce with peaches and scorpion peppers, and boom, that's it. Let's make it. And it's just like this overly commercially done product thing that has like no emotion or connection behind it, that I feel the small batch community, that real micro batch community, which we are, has that like passion and connection to their product. Because I know that I do. I know damn right that Sam does, and I know other people do too. So it's like you're just like almost like a cold ass corporate level thing, just making this fucking product that like, yeah, it might be good because you just at that kind of like professional creation or whatever. But I feel like it lacks the human touch to it,
or you look at the ingredients and it's pepper mash.
Yeah.
And
Pepper mash,
everything,
water,
pepper
xanthan
mash,
gum,
water, oil, which
yeah,
I will never use oil in mine, like seed oils too. I'm just like, dude, cheap, emulsified, just no.
yeah. It's like, why?
I feel like there needs to be different tiers of small batch, where like at one point I just thought, oh, small batch, that's, anything but the grocery store stuff. Now it's like, oh, there are levels of tiers of every degree.
Yeah.
And then you get into where there's not quite corporate Franks, but there's corporate craft or corporate small batch, or, whatever you want to call it, where they still try to promote that storefront, kind of like the mom and pop storefront. But then it's like, you've kind of
they're having
that.
stuff made in another country, shipped in pallets.
Someone else that I feel like does that and like puts up the whole like small business owned and stuff. Holy shit, I'm killing myself here. It's Ed Curry and the Parker Bud Pepper Company. I feel like they still throw that like like cutesy family owned whatever, like Ed owned and mom and pop kind of thing, like in their store down south. But I feel like they fucking made it. I mean, come on.
They're making like 5 of every hot one sauce. They're like in cahoots.
Yeah.
They're in the sack with them. They
like
yeah,
you're probably at the top of the game of the hot sauce game right now in our current community where like we can be in the same event as Ed Curry. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But then if they're just like, well, we're small guys, I'm just like, well, then Roddy and we didn't even get out of our fucking stroller this morning.
Yeah, no, like so we were talking to they actually like realized that we are not small batch makers, we are micro makers because we make like a regular batch for me could be anywhere in like the peak of the summer when my production can be like 900 to 1,000 bottles, but my normal batches that I aim to make every like couple of weeks is like 300 to like 400 bottles a batch, and that's a lot sometimes if you're working by yourself.
Hand filling, not automated systems. We're not like there's not other countries with super low wages pumping out pallets of sauce.
Look at the calluses from sealing the bottle. That hot sealing, I have calluses just here because hand sealing each bottle, dude. Those ridges in the caps, oh my god, they get brutal.
A system you have to wear like double layer gloves with like a little like matte masking tape around your digits. Yeah. It's brutal. It's like when you look at these hands, they tell a story.
And I do hot filling too. I do hot bottling. So the sauce, the bottle is like 200 degrees almost when I'm putting the sauce in it. And then by the time that I set it down and I do like 20 bottles of filling, and then I go put the cap on, the glass is like boiling hot. So it's like I just like quickly kind of like it's so difficult.
I feel like they should just. I know that they want to keep that small batch brand, but like just let's make a new title for the ones that have made it, that have gone past the small batch name, but don't want to be considered like corporate level. But like, hey, you're small batch headliner, craft headliners or something. Like
And honestly, I feel like those contests where like the award shows should have different categories for corporate made, for manufacturer made, for like co-packer made, and then handmade, small guy us made.
I actually thought about that when you mentioned on a previous episode. In the Academy Awards, they have both adapted screenplay and like best film from an adapted versus an original. It's kind of the same thing, original versus adapted recipe.
Yeah,
because when Roddy, somebody comes up to you and you're just like, hey, by the way, bottle of Verde, it was fucking awesome. He's not over there just be like, hey, cool. He's just like, dude, that's awesome. Like,
I came up with that shit in my house one day, and I was like, this would probably be good. And then I commercialized it. Well, make it myself, but still commercialized it. But I feel like those people, like, there are manufacturers, for example, and co-packers that you can buy recipes from. It's not difficult for you to have a hot sauce brand. And I wish there was a clear separation between a hot sauce salesperson and a hot sauce maker, because you can be a maker and be us, because we make it and sell it, but you could also be like the person who orders it and sells it. I wish there was a clear division and definition and acceptance of you're not a maker. Stop telling people you make hot sauce. Just say you have a hot sauce brand, and it will be probably a little more acceptable by me. Because like, I represent a hot sauce brand and I sell hot sauce. Yeah, cool, sure. Do you cook it though?
There's at least 4 companies that I am aware of that co-pack, but rightfully so, because it's smart, I guess, for their appeal is they have libraries of recipes because they want.
I'm not saying it's wrong though,
Well, they just want anybody to show up, call with money, saying, "Hey, I'm interested in a hot sauce," and they'll go, "Cool. You have any idea what you want?" They'll be like, "No." They'll be like, "You got money?" You'd be like, "Yeah." Be like, "Awesome. What you want?" "I got this. I got that." Or you could just be like, "I kind of want it fruity and with this," and they'll be like, "Cool, I got like 12 different variations that could work," and then they'll slap your logo on it, and you don't know what's in it, the percentages, the anything, and let's just say if that company goes belly up and you have to like transition that product, you're fucked. You have no
transparency,
no idea.
I am one of those trying to capitalize on that. Me with my manufacturing facility, I'm trying to utilize the shit out of it and have it running 24/7 because I honestly, I need to get paid. I haven't made any money for myself in 3 years, and I think it's time to get paid. So
you see, he chopped his hair a little bit ago, and that did not go well for him. His sales went down.
He's gonna have to sell more hair if he's gonna want to make it.
Yeah. It's gonna grow at some point. It's on.
That's what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to sell my hair to make money, and I've run out. So
Yeah, I have bad news for you, Matt. But yeah, so I'm developing a list of recipes and stuff like that. If people want to like just have a hot sauce, I am down to selling them a recipe. Here's a recipe. I'll make the hot sauce for you. I'll put it on the website. I'll do whatever for you like. I'll fulfill it and everything, and just you sell it, and everybody makes a little bit of profit. Like I don't see it as being a bad thing. I just like wish people would be a little more honest about it.
yeah, there've been some brands.
Got a hold. Oh, because people have gotten a hold of me, other hot sauce makers, and have wanted me to make a hot sauce for them or a collaboration with them, which looking into it more and more, I'm like, wait a second. You just want me to make a hot sauce for you to put your label on? I'm like, I'm not okay with that.
No, collaboration has to be different.
Yes.
There has to be like a very
if you just want a white labeled product of mine, let's just say it's for a promotional thing or something. It's just like, give me some credit, have my information on it. Then we're cool. But there's these other companies that they're all over the place and they have hundreds of honeys and syrups and sauces or whatever. And they'll like scout out great products. And they're like, hey, this is really good. I'd like to buy, 5-6 cases of it unlabeled. I don't like that.
Hot takes behind hot takes after hot takes and more hot takes. I feel like those sauces are just like overly sweet and have a bunch of sugars and like honeys and stuff are just masking bad flavor. I think you can make anything taste great by just making it sweet as fuck. Just sugar. There's like brown sugar and molasses and like white sugar and like granulated sugar and like more stuff. And I'm like, dude, there's like 6 kinds of sugars in this and just like one pepper. Like, why? This is
the
a
American dream. And it's like with me, Taiga style is the only sauce I use actual granulated sugar in. That's it, just for the balance. Otherwise, I don't think I ever want to make a sauce that's necessarily sweet. I don't ever want to do another sauce with sugar added, maybe agave, maybe other things, but I don't want anything just sweet because that's not what I enjoy. Once again, Radhi, we make sauces that we enjoy. I'm never going to make like a sweet chili glaze that I can make a buck off of, that everyone's going to love, that I'm going to fucking hate.
Oh, you're telling me you don't want to make anything Caribbean like that is
no,
that classic
like,
Midwest Caribbean combo.
Oh, Matt, you don't know, but you know, you know what? I'm going to stop it here because we are at the like hour and some change mark. It is a Monday. We are recording on a Monday at almost midnight. Hey, synchronized drinking, you guys. That was awesome. Matt, any closing remarks that you would like to share on the podcast?
No, it's just crazy that I'm actually on the podcast that I normally listen to. This might be the only episode I'll be kind of avoiding for a little bit just to hear my voice, but I will listen to it.
Come on, listen to it.
I gotta keep my consistent following of the podcast. But yeah, this has been awesome.
We got great voices and it was awesome to have you. Great production. Honestly, if people are just looking for a more serious review, backstory, everything, the Heatsource, clutch. If you just want to hang and goof off with the boys, and who knows,
also, the Heatsource is the only podcast. The Heatsource is the only hot sauce podcast that you can listen to on loudspeakers because they are PG. I would not play our show without headphones because you're gonna get in trouble with your parents.
Well, on that note, when we made our episodes, did we slip any naughty words, man?
So you did, and those are actually labeled separately on the episodes. But we bleeped Radhi because we thought it would be funny. So
with me, you think you're just like, I think Sam would be more upset if we beeped him.
Well, we're like, when we talk to people, it's like we just want them to talk comfortably, so we really don't care. But it's like
30 minutes into the episode, I was like, I couldn't hold it anymore. I was about to explode because I had to like drop the NF bomb in like an hour, and I was like, fuck, what happened? I was like, oh, can I curse on this? And they're like, yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, the funny thing is I used to come back from my drill weekends and it would be just F-bombs on the phone. And then as I'm getting closer back home, they're like, oh, you're almost home. Like, why? I'm like, because you're cleaning up your conversation as you're getting closer to your house where your kids are. And I'm like, yeah, it's just a mental thing. Like once I pass a certain mile marker, it just adjusts back.
On that note, Matt, where can they find you?
They can find us at the Heatsource Podcast on Instagram, the Heatsource Podcast at gmail.com. Those are the two main ones. We have a Facebook, but honestly, the Instagram is going to be where you get all of our updates. And we're on pretty much any podcast platform. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all those.
Lovely.
I barely use my sauce Facebook page. Like I don't even know it exists. I know that it's there, and I automatically share content from Instagram over, but I never
hate
even pay attention to it.
It's harder to handle. Like Instagram's so much easier.
Yeah, it's dumb. Sam, where can they find you?
Well, they can find me at Sam Sauce or samsauce.com or Samsa House, Instagram, Facebook. And then, a note on Facebook too. I just have everything on Instagram feed over to Facebook automatically. Otherwise, I hate the system. Facebook's confusing. It sucks. It's all the same thing, but we'll get behind the Zuckerberg and maybe he'll take care of us someday. But that's where you can find me. What about you, Mr. Roddy?
Just come find us on Instagram instead. And you can find me at faya.co on Instagram. Faya.co is the website. And follow this podcast, please, on at Spill the Sauce Podcast on Instagram. And we can also email us at spillthesaucepodcast@gmail.com for any yapping that you want to yap about. Suggestions, comments, or concerns. Or like complaints, come complain and I will insult you. Bing, bong. This was Spill the Sauce.
Yeah.